Hello and welcome. This is Susan Lopresti, and I am so excited to have you here today for my topic on brain health. For those of you who don't know me, I am a holistic health coach, Reiki, and meditation practitioner. And I'm excited about today's topic because brain health is so important to us. And you will see as we get on with this presentation. What is the brain? The brain is an organ that acts as the main control center of our bodies. This complex organ controls our intelligence, the senses, body movement, and also behavior. And the brain weighs approximately 3 pounds, and it makes up about 2% of our body weight. Within the last 10 years, we really have begun to understand more about the brain than we have in past centuries combined. There's a lot of new information, and it's becoming readily available to us every day. So we really need to stay on top of it so we can make sure that our brains stay healthy and vibrant for many years to come, just like we want the rest of our bodies to do. So I'm going to very briefly touch on the structure of the brain and the parts of the brain, but I don't want to get too deep into the technicality of it. So we're going to start off and letting you know that the brain has three sections that house different parts. The forebrain, it contains the largest and the most developed part of the human brain, and it houses the cerebrum. The midbrain houses the uppermost part of the brain stem, and the hindbrain contains the upper part of the spinal cord, the brain stem, and tissue called the cerebellum. And the three primary parts of the brain are the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brain stem. The cerebrum is divided into 4 lobes. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, and it is composed of the right and the left hemisphere. The brain stem includes the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla, and the cerebellum is located under the cerebrum, and it's between the cerebrum and the brain stem that lies the thalamus and the hypothalamus. The cerebral cortex coats the surface of the cerebrum and the cerebellum. So let's go on and we'll look at the brain function. The forebrain, where the cerebrum is, has the lobes. So the frontal lobes hold memories that allow you to plan, imagine, and think. And then the parietal lobe translates the senses. So that would be our touch, our vision, hearing, as well as speech, reasoning, and emotions. It's important for spatial orientation and also navigation. The temporal lobe processes sound and language, and it houses the hippocampus and amygdala, which play roles in memory, emotions, and the occipital lobe is responsible for visual processing, and it allows to recognize friends and also to read books. The midbrain is where the brain stem relays information between the brain and the rest of the body. Automatic functions such as breathing and heart rate, body temperature, they're all controlled from the brain stem. And then there's the hindbrain, which is where the cerebellum is located. And the cerebellum coordinates muscle movement, motor control, and also helps to maintain posture and balance as well. The thalamus relays sensory and motor signals to the cortex and is involved in regulating consciousness, sleep, and alertness. The hypothalamus connects the nervous system to the endocrine system, where hormones are produced by way of the pituitary gland. The cerebral cortex is where most information is actually processed in the brain. Left brain and right brain. So the brain, the human brain, is divided into the left and right hemisphere, connected by a bundle of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. And theories surrounding left right brain dominance state each side controls different thinking styles. The left brain theory originated by Nobel Prize winner Roger W. Sperry in 1981. Each side of the brain controls the opposite side of the body. For example, the left brain controls all the muscles on the right side of the body, and vice versa. Left brain thinkers are said to be more logical, analytical, and objective. Traits of the left brain include language, logic, critical thinking, numbers, reasoning. And the right brain thinkers are said to be more intuitive, thoughtful, subjective. Traits of the right brain include facial recognition, emotional expression, music, reading, color, imagination, intuition, and creativity. So, do you know if you are a right brain or a left brain thinker? I know for me, I'm certainly a right brainer. I'm very creative, I'm very big picture, and that is why I even have trouble pronouncing and understanding some of these big words related to the brain and how it works. So it's a lesson for me here as well. And I did do a lot of research for this presentation. And if anyone wants to know where I got my resources from, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to share that with you. Moving on now, why is the brain or brain health so important? That's the big question. A healthy brain functions quickly and automatically. And that's what we want ultimately. We want to be a quick thinker, we want quick recall, and sometimes I struggle with that as well. This presentation is really, really super important to me. 1 in 5 people in the US suffers from a neurological disorder, which are diseases of the brain, spine, and nerves that connect them. The National Institute of Neurological Disorders reports the following as common disorders: Neuro, neurogenetic diseases such as Huntington's disease and muscular dystrophy, developmental disorders such as cerebral palsy. There's degenerative diseases of the adult life, which are Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, metabolic diseases such as Gaucher's disease, cerebrovascular disease, such as a stroke or vascular dementia, trauma, spinal cord injury or head injury, convulsive disorders such as epilepsy, infectious diseases like AIDS, dementia. Then there are brain tumors. Let's take a deeper look into a few neurological disorders. The first one that we're going to look at is dementia. Dementia is considered a cerebrovascular disease, but it's not a specific disease. It's a general term to describe a decline in mental ability. It describes a wide range of symptoms. For a condition to be considered dementia, at least 2 of the following must be significantly impaired. If you have 2 of the following significantly impaired, or you know someone, then you could say this person has dementia. And that would be an impaired memory, impaired communication and language, impaired ability to focus and pay attention, impaired reasoning and judgment. Visual perception also could be impaired. Dementia is caused by brain cell damage, which impairs communication in the brain and may cause short term memory loss. Many forms of dementia are progressive, meaning that the symptoms will worsen as time goes by. And while there is no cure for dementia, some treatment options are available, and a number of prevention strategies have been identified as helpful for reducing the risk. And we'll be discussing these more in detail. What are some prevention strategies? Cardiovascular risk factors, for one, physical exercise, and also diet. If we have a good diet and we do physical activity and we have good heart health, that really helps us to keep our brain healthy and well. Now let's look at Alzheimer's, which is another degenerative disease, and it's the most common form of dementia, causing problems with memory, thinking, and also behavior. Over 5 million Americans live with Alzheimer's, and 1 in 10 over the age of 65 have Alzheimer's. Early onset Alzheimer's affects 200,000 Americans under the age of 65. I'm soon to be 63, so that's scary news for me. I want to be sure that my brain is remaining healthy. Minor changes in the brain occur long before the symptoms actually appear. So, prevention factors that we should be considering. The overconsumption of fat and carbohydrates are at the heart of the Alzheimer's epidemic. So, keeping that under control. Risk of Alzheimer's disease doubles in type 2 diabetics. Heart disease also increases your risk of dementia, as arterial stiffness is associated with the buildup of plaque in your brain, which is a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. So far, you're seeing that through diet and lifestyle changes, we can make some improvements. Let's go on and look at a stroke and what that's all about. A stroke is considered an attack on the brain. A stroke occurs by obstruction of blood flow to the brain, causing brain cells to die from lack of oxygen. The effects of a stroke are dependent on where it hits in the brain, because, like I mentioned earlier, one side of the brain controls the opposite side of the body. So different functions may be impaired depending on what side of the brain the stroke occurred. So we're going to look at the right side. If the stroke occurred on the right side of the brain, it may lead to paralysis on the left side of the body. You could have vision problems. You may also have quick, inquisitive behavioral style, or you could have memory loss. And then a stroke occurring on the left side may lead to paralysis on, you guessed it, the right side of the body. Speech and language problems can occur. Slow, cautious behavior style could be the result of a stroke on that side. Also, memory loss. Now let's look at some stroke facts that are out there. And this is eye-opening as well. 800,000 new or recurring strokes happen annually. Up to 80% of strokes can be prevented. Stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the US, and stroke is the leading cause of adult disability in the US, and it could all be avoided. We're going to talk about preventing childhood neurological problems. So as a parent or a grandparent, we all want what's best for our child or our grandchild. That's a given. And here are some suggestions for neurological problem prevention that I got from the energyconnectiontherapies.com. So nutrition is the first one, and nutrition always plays a part in our health. And so we want to provide local and organic produce to reduce the intake of pesticides. I know that the economy is not in the best of shape right now, and food prices are through the roof. And I also know that organic produce is much more expensive than conventional. So I could suggest a couple of things. I can suggest that you grow your own if that's an option for you. I could also suggest that you go to a farmer's market and buy directly from the farmer. That's another way. If you don't have those options and you're forced to buy organic in the supermarket, then go and do some research. It's called the Dirty Dozen of fruits and vegetables that you should really be buying organic because they seem to hold in the pesticides. Their skin of the fruit or the vegetable is not that thick, so the pesticides really absorb in, and even washing them is not going to make that much of an improvement. So there's different ways of getting organic into your body, but of course you have to do it within your budget and within your means. Look up Dirty Dozen and see what they are and see if you can buy those 12 fruits and vegetables organic, and then do a really good job of cleaning the rest of the conventional fruits and vegetables that you buy, or you could make vegetable and fruit cleaner that will help to remove the pesticides. You can Google that as well. You also want to ensure that your child is drinking plenty of water, good clean water, to remove the toxins. And then you want to avoid at all costs, as much as you can, processed foods, trans fats, high sugar, and also artificial sweeteners. The next thing that you want to do for your child is you want to maintain a toxin-free environment. What that looks like is using natural cleaners to clean your house, using natural fibers, your clothing, your bed clothing, eliminating any kind of flame retardants. When you buy a mattress, find out about it. There are mattresses that are loaded with different chemicals and toxins, and then there are more natural ones. And you want to look for things like that. You could also look for natural fibers in furniture, believe it or not. It depends on how much you want to dive into this, but it certainly is important to consider a toxin free environment whenever you can. And then skin irritants. You want to look for clean beauty products and personal care products. They're loaded with so many chemicals. There's not a lot of restriction around that. And there's words flying around loosely like organic and crafted. Do you really know what those words mean? They sound great, but what are they? Educate yourself. And I do this in a lot of my programs that I do. I educate women to know what to look out for and know what to beware of and know what is good and what isn't. And it's so important. Another thing that we should look at, and this is something that many people don't even think about, but find a holistic dentist. If you grew up in the 60s and the 70s, especially, and you had cavities, chances are you have silver fillings that are filled with mercury. You need to see a holistic dentist. They have a procedure of removing them that is safe and effective for you, and then they will replace them with a non toxic version of a filling. You want to avoid overuse of fluorides. I know that fluorides help to prevent cavities, but there are other things that you can also be doing to prevent cavities. Good oral hygiene is certainly something. If you're flossing once or twice a day, if you're brushing after at least 2 or 3 meals a day, you're doing a lot. If you're oil pulling, and that's another topic for another day, but that will also help to prevent cavities, tongue scraping, also getting the germs off your tongue and out of your mouth. Not using regular mouthwash, by the way, because regular mouthwash doesn't know the difference between good and bad bacteria. Yes, it kills the germs that cause bad breath, but it also kills the germs that help the breath to be fresher. So you end up with bad breath either way if you're using a store-bought mouthwash. I talk about that in my programs also. And then healthy development. You want to have frequent physical activities. You want to get outside. You want to go in the sun, the fresh air as much as you can. And then you want to incorporate brain exercises as well, different puzzles and challenging your brain, word puzzles, games. You want to limit screen time, and that includes your computer and TVs, even reading a Kindle or audiobooks. Try reading instead. And then when we're looking for adult prevention, what could we do there? We were talking about children a moment ago, but now let's look at adults. There are a number of lifestyle habits that you could adopt to maintain good brain health. Lifestyle changes can be broken down into four categories: physical health and exercise, diet and nutrition, cognitive activity, and social engagement. These categories have been shown to help your body and brain to reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Research has found that combining activities of each of these categories has a great impact on maintaining or improving brain health than any single activity. So, the more that you can do, the better off you'll be. And we'll discuss ways to incorporate these categories into your lifestyle. Break that sweat. Many studies have found an association between physical activity and reduced risk of cognitive decline. Try engaging in regular physical activity and cardiovascular exercise to elevate your heart rate, your blood flow, and oxygen to your brain. We need to keep everything flowing. Physical activities can be both mentally and socially engaging. Let's do things where you're socially connected. Walk with a friend, take a dance class, join an exercise group, go golfing, take a tennis lesson, join a community pool, walk your dog, go for a bike ride. The World Health Organization recommends that adults should do at least 150 minutes of aerobic exercise weekly. Aerobic activities should be performed in at least 10-minute sessions, and you want to build to 150 minutes for the week, at least 2 days per week for muscle strengthening activities. They should be included as well. Tips on including physical activity, leisure time activities, walking, dancing, hiking, swimming. Those are leisure, but you're still moving your body. For transportation, you could try walking or cycling, and also household chores are using a physical body, vacuuming, cleaning your windows, and dusting and washing your floors. Those are all physical activities that you can do that will help you. Hit the books. Old dogs can learn new tricks. Continuing education during any stage of life will help reduce your risk of cognitive decline. Some great resources that you could utilize: the local library, community centers, rec centers, the local college. You could go online. There are so many topics for learning, it's endless. Pick anything of interest to you. Look for a local class or check out a book from the library on a topic that you like, something that's fun. Try new things. Go to your local craft store or home improvement store and see if they have classes on how to learn how to knit or crochet or needlepoint or cooking classes. You could teach yourself to sew. You could look for a local church club activities. Like I know there's some that quilting is very popular in some areas, and they have this whole laid out quilt, and everyone's working on the same quilt. It's a wonderful thing. It's a social connection as well. Gardening is also a great activity. There you go with organic fruits and vegetables, right? But it's also great exercise. You're bending over, you're digging, you're pulling. And if you have nothing in your area, I'm going to suggest an online group. It's called skillshare.com. And there you could pick from thousands of classes. Currently, the last time I checked, there were over 19,000 classes, and the categories include, but are not limited to, design, writing, technology, photography. So there's definitely something for you there. There are many reasons here to quit, right? And to kick this habit. Many, many reasons. Decreasing your risk of cognitive decline is another reason. Evidence shows that smoking increases the risk of cognitive decline. So, find your reason and even avoid the cognitive decline, but all the other reasons for the people that you love, for the people who love you. Have you ever seen someone sick with lung cancer? I have. My dad. He was a smoker. It's a terrible disease. Quit. Whatever your reason, keeping it clear in your mind will help you to stay motivated. Get prepared. Going cold turkey, even though I was a former smoker, I did go cold turkey. It works, but it doesn't always work for everyone. So choose a method and set up a support system, such as a friend to call when you're having trouble fighting that urge. Then there's replacement therapy, such as nicotine gum, that may help you with nicotine withdrawal symptoms. Find new ways to reduce stress, because a lot of times when you get stressed out, the first thing that you want to do is reach for that cigarette. Find new ways to reduce stress. Avoid triggers in the first few weeks. If you associate smoking with drinking, let's say, and going to a bar, then obviously maybe what you need to do is avoid the drinking and avoid going to the bar to set you up for failure. Don't do that. Stay away from it until you have a better handle on the smoking situation, right? If you usually smoke after a meal, try taking a walk during this time instead of reaching for that cigarette. There are many, many things that you could do really to help yourself. And let's talk about heart smart and what that is. By taking care of your heart, your brain is more likely to follow. Studies show risk factors for cardiovascular disease and stroke, obesity, high blood pressure, and diabetes negatively impact your cognitive health. Protect your brain by protecting your heart, by maintaining your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and your blood sugar within recommended limits, and sustain a healthy weight. A healthy diet and regular exercise are key to heart protection. Let's look at cholesterol. Cholesterol is a waxy substance that's in the blood. Cholesterol is needed in the body to build cells. However, too much can be harmful. Cholesterol comes from animal-based foods such as meat and dairy. Cholesterol is also made in the body by the liver. If you reduce the amount of meat that you're eating and the amount of dairy, and you increase your exercise, you can be helping your body to lower your cholesterol naturally. There are two types of cholesterol. There's LDL, which is the low density lipoprotein. And you'll remember that that's the bad cholesterol because LDL stands for lousy in my mind. And I know that the lousy cholesterol is the one that contributes to fatty buildups in your arteries. Then there's the high density lipoprotein. That's the good because it removes the lousy LDL cholesterol. Check with your doctor for your optimal cholesterol range. Normally, the top one should be lower than 200. So we're going to look at blood pressure. Blood pressure is recorded as two numbers, systolic and diastolic. Systolic blood pressure is the upper number. That indicates how much pressure your blood is exerting against your artery when the heart beats. Diastolic, which is the lower number, that indicates how much pressure your blood is exerting against your artery walls while the heart is resting between beats. Typically, the top number is important. Blood pressure is measured as mmHg, meaning millimeters of mercury, which is a pressure gauge. Normal levels, systolic less than 120 and diastolic less than 80. That would be normal. 120 over 80 is actually perfect. And then we want to look at safety first when we're protecting our brain. Injuries to the brain can increase your risk of cognitive decline. It's important to take safety precautions when possible. Wear a seatbelt. Use a helmet when riding a bike. Take steps to prevent falls. Common factors contributing to falls is inactivity is a common cause of reduced balance, coordination, and flexibility. There you go again. You need to be moving your body. Try yoga as a low impact activity to reduce your risk. It also helps you to be calmer and more relaxed and more focused and more centered. Yoga is a wonderful activity. Poor vision can make tripping hazards and obstacles more difficult to see. Some prescriptions and over-the-counter medications can cause dizziness or dehydration, which can contribute to falls. If you know that you're on a medication that dehydrates you, then you also need to know that you need to be drinking plenty of water every single day. Not, oh, I drank a lot yesterday. No, every single day you need to drink a lot of water. Our brains are made up of water, and we need water to keep our brain functioning properly. You want to be sure about that. Check your home environment for simple modifications. If you have area rugs that are slippery, you want to make sure that you put a pad underneath it. If any rugs are flipped up a little bit, you want to make sure that you can't trip. You can't trip over a saddle that separates two rooms. You want to go through your house and make sure that it's safe. There's nothing that's going to trip you up, let's say, excuse the pun on words there, and you just want to take all the precautions necessary. And then good sleep, of course. Not getting enough sleep due to conditions like insomnia or sleep apnea may result in problems with memory and thinking. Insomnia can be caused by psychiatric and medical conditions, unhealthy sleep habits, specific substances, and certain biological factors can also attribute to poor sleep. Example of medical conditions that can cause insomnia: nasal and sinus allergies, arthritis, the pain of it would keep you up at night, asthma, chronic pain, low back pain. To get a better night's sleep, try creating a bedtime routine. Avoid using your computer or your phone right before bedtime, and try incorporating a few restful stretches into your bedtime routine. I'm talking really fast and I'm going through a lot of information, but in my health coaching programs, I do a whole topic around sleep and the importance of it. And I give you a lot of rituals. So I'm going to tell you a couple of more here. Take a warm bath or a hot shower, especially with Epsom salt, will definitely help you to fall asleep and relax you. Meditation can help. Try reading a book to calm your mind in the evening. Of course, you want to avoid caffeinated beverages late in the day. And some people, even if they drink coffee in the late morning, let's say 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, it'll cause them to have trouble falling asleep at night. So if you're seeing that correlation, then quit the coffee. Quit it, and we'll talk about that in other classes. And then there are many techniques, mental health and stress. There are so many techniques that you can try for managing stress. And again, in my health coaching programs, I utilize so many of them. After all, I am a Reiki and meditation practitioner as well. So you know that meditation and breath work is a very big part in helping you to reduce your stress. Deep breathing lowers cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that is released when you are in danger or you're in fear. It causes your body to react quickly so you could take action and run to safety. But in normal conditions, once you feel safe again, cortisol shuts off and your body would go back to normal. Unfortunately, in today's world, with all the stress that we have in our life, cortisol doesn't shut off. And when it doesn't shut off, we're on high alert and we're stressed all the time. Yoga combines movement and breath for potent stress reliever. So again, yoga is so important. Guided visualizations, which I've been doing on here, I do them live in the morning, 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning. So be on the lookout for my live classes as well. It's a great way to start your day, especially set the intention first thing in the morning. Essential oils or aromatherapy can give you a boost. Some have calming scents that include lavender and bergamot, frankincense, geranium. They're all great for you. Also, give journaling a try. Journaling is a great release. Let your anger and your frustrations and your arguments out on paper. And then after you've done it, create a ritual. Light it on fire. Make sure that you're safe. Hold it over the sink or something where you're not going to get burned or set your house on fire. Light it on fire. Let it burn. That's a signal of letting it go. Drop it in the sink. Turn the water on. Make sure that everything is out and release it. So that's a great, great thing to do. Next, we want to get involved. We want to be socially engaged and connected. That helps to support brain function. It's very important. Pursue social activities that are meaningful to you. What's meaningful to you? Find ways to be part of your local community. There's so many different community functions in all the towns that we live in. Get involved. Volunteer at the library. Join a club to teach English or read to children. That's a beautiful thing to do. See if a local park needs gardening or cleanup volunteers. Get out there and do that. Animal shelters are always looking for animal caretakers. Animals are so wonderful. They're so pleasant to be around. They're loving, they're engaging, they keep you active. Maybe you don't want the full-time responsibility of an animal, but how about fostering an animal until it finds its forever home? There's lots of things that you could do. You could volunteer in an animal shelter. You could join a choir if you like to sing. start a book club. It's so easy to do that, and it's an enjoyable thing to do. You want to really be involved. You want to make new friends. You want to learn new things. You want to stay socially connected, and you want to challenge yourself. Mentally challenging activities are great for keeping your mind sharp. Challenging your mind may have short and long term benefits for your brain. Try learning a new skill, work on a puzzle, participate in strategic games such as bridge, learn how to play an instrument. Do something artistic like painting or scrapbooking. Read a different style of books. If you're always into nonfiction, read a fiction book and vice versa. Journal or write poetry. There's so many things that we could do to keep our brain active. Don't just sit in front of the TV. Don't do that. Yes, shows are wonderful and storylines are great, but you need to mix it up. You can't just be a couch potato and watch television morning, night. That's so unhealthy. You need to get out. You need to be physically active. Nutrition. Here we go. Of course, we're going to talk about nutrition. It's a huge part of any health regimen, including brain health. Typically, eating a well balanced diet, which includes a high intake of, you guessed it, fruits and vegetables, and low in fat and sugar, can help reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Diets such as the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet may contribute to risk reduction. On Burn I have an anti-inflammatory diet that I talked about, and also reducing your risk of inflammation. Those are two classes that you may want to go back and watch because it all ties together. The Mediterranean diet is a heart healthy diet, which may help protect the brain, and it incorporates different principles of healthy eating that are typically found in areas bordering the Mediterranean Sea. Focus on fruits, vegetables, nuts, and healthy grains. Look at the healthy grains. You want to replace butter with healthy fats such as olive oil. You want to reduce your red meat intake. That's very, very important. I'm not here to bash or talk about vegan, vegetarian, or eating animal proteins. That's your personal choice, but you need to know your own responsibility and what helps and what hurts. So you need to reduce red meat intake. And it's off topic, but if you're eating animal proteins, you want to make sure that the USDA certified organic, grass-fed, wild caught. Otherwise, if you're eating fish that's not wild caught, you're eating mercury. If you're eating animal proteins that are not USDA certified organic, you are eating antibiotics, you are eating hormones. We don't need either one of those in our body. It affects our brain health. We want to reduce the amount of red meat and animal proteins, especially if they're non-organic. You want to use herbs to flavor foods rather than salt. Salt will lead to high blood pressure. Eat fish at least twice a week. White fish such as cod and haddock, catfish, and one fatty fish such as salmon or tuna or mackerel or sardines. These are all great fish options, wild caught. The DASH diet, which is short for dietary approaches to stop hypertension. You want to eat foods that are low in saturated fats, total fat, and salt. You want to eat more fruits and vegetables. You want to consume grains, poultry, fish, and nuts. And you want to limit your intake of fats, red meats, sweets, and sugary beverages. Cold turkey would be great, and to go on the strictest diet that you possibly can. And some people are able to do that and stick to it. But if you know yourself And if you know that complete deprivation is going to lead to failure, then do it in moderation. Don't eat sweets every day. Make it a special day on a Sunday or a Saturday, weekend, maybe a dinner out or something and you want dessert. There's all of that that you need to think about. And you can do this. You can do it. On to slide 22, which is, and this is about supplements. Some supplements are associated with improving cognitive function. Consuming a healthy diet, of course, is the best way to achieve optimal nutrition, but sometimes it can be difficult to get all your nutrients in one day. And if that's the case for you, then you may want to try supplementing. And some supplements will help to boost memory, motivation, creativity, alertness, and general cognitive function. Fish oils contain healthy fatty acids essential for maintaining the structure and function of your brain and have a host of anti-inflammatory effects. Reversatol, this is a powerful antioxidant that's found in deep purple and red colored fruits. Some studies show reversatol can prevent the deterioration of the hippocampus where memories are stored. Ginkgo biloba, this herbal supplement can increase blood flow to the brain, therefore increasing brain power. I did pull together this presentation with some resources. So if you have any questions about where I got any of this information for this presentation today, I am happy to share that with you. I want to thank you again for being here with me. I so appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please, if you enjoy my classes, follow me on Instagram at Susan Lopresti with 2 underscores. That's where you'll find me on Instagram. And follow me there. Also go to my website, www.susanlopresti.com. You could sign up for a free 30-minute health assessment. If you're interested in private health coaching, I have offers up for that as well that we could talk about. And again, until the next time, thank you again. Please look out for my live meditation classes that I'm doing, and that will help to alleviate stress, which will improve heart health, brain health, high blood pressure, and so much more. Thank you again. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Take good care.